Previously on Building Fury. You do know what this means, of course. We're gonna have to add a ton of rocks. All we gotta do is just kind of fill in the gaps and make sure it all connects nicely. All the rocks in this section of the caves are placed, and it does look pretty fire. The great thing about all these wooden structures is it can be kind of random. It doesn't have to be all that systematic. Now all I need to do is just add a bunch of these crystals all over the place. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this brand new episode of Building Fury the Ride. Today, we're gonna be a bit more chill. We're gonna be a bit more relaxed, like the old days. It used to be really just relaxing most of all, so let's do that today as well. In today's episode, we're gonna be working on the top of this mountain that I'm currently inside of. But before doing that, first, let me just show you some different things I built in the meantime. Starting with this bridge, I don't know why I didn't build this in a previous episode. I just kind of forgot, but here you go. It is quite nice and detailed. It merges in with the rest pretty well, so solid. Then I also made another change to the actual coaster itself. You may remember me saying I was gonna change the last portion of the ride, the final turn, and I did. It's pretty cool. Usually after going through the cave, there's a hill, like this one, and then this is what I changed. There you go. I think that is a super cool element. This last turn, this still isn't ideal. Once again, I may change that later, but at least there's now a cool element, which I like. Then a thing I wanted to change in the caves are these crystals. They're green now, but I do think purple is a bit better. This is gonna make a lot more sense for the story that's coming, but also it's kind of based on my main channel, and there the main color is purple. So allow me to kind of change this up. Just painting all of these crystals on the sides. And guys, this shows perfectly why I love the color purple so much. Look at what this does to it. It's a bit of the bluish purple color, which really makes it look so much deeper. I absolutely love that. This does, however, mean I also need to change these in the queue. There aren't a ton, but still, it matters. There you go. Now it all makes sense again. Then now, ladies and gentlemen, let's work on this. It looks very plain, very bare. There's gonna be a whole city on top of this, so let's just get into it. This is gonna be crazy. I'm going to be doing this in quite a unique way. What I'm first gonna do is just create a bunch of tower elements to make sure we can build those up over there. It's a bit easier to work here anyway, so let's get into it. We need a bunch of bricks, and this first one will be a regular tower element, if you will, just like the basic kind of structure. And instead of what I usually do, these are gonna be very random. Is this decision gonna haunt me at a later point? Absolutely. Yes, I may have taken this a tad too far, but it looks freaking sick though. Let me just add some nice coloring and see what it looks like then. Some of them are a bit brighter, and we can grab this and copy it over. I mean, come on, that looks incredible. Then just now I built that same thing but a bit thinner, so we have multiple variations of thickness. Sure as hell is always a winning formula. And to be fair, let's just make an even thinner one right now, like this. I think is useful. Beautiful. Okay, then let's add some wooden elements as well. I'll begin once again with a basic shape. Then on top of this, I'll put a roof element. And then around that, you guessed it, a ton of wooden elements. Pretty sure this will look amazing. On the roof, I'm gonna add custom roof tiles to make it even more insane. I mean, what did you expect? Come on. And to kind of sell the effect that this is all very old, let's have some of these stick out a bit further than others. This is going to look incredible, ladies and gentlemen. These roof tiles are going to be purple. I don't exactly know what shade, but something like this seems to be pretty nice. And using various wooden details, we can kind of finish that whole thing off to look like a nice roof. Windows on the roofs are also a must-have, and the whole thing I can just copy over to the other side. I tried it again just now and somehow it worked. I'm not complaining, but I do not get why. I changed basically nothing. Anyways, the idea is I'll make a bunch of these elements that all kind of look similar but are not identical, so that I can use those to build entire castles up there. So I'll see you in a bit, because this is very, very boring and repetitive work. Goodbye. This has taken way too long, but let me just show you what I built. First off, here we have a bunch of bridges, a staircase, some doors, some windows, some chimneys, just smaller stuff that we can use to kind of build up different shapes of buildings. Over here, we've got some different variations of windows. And towards the right, there's all the towers I built. These wooden elements right here essentially are just structures we can put around the stone ones, which sometimes might be nice. However, everything else is relatively similar. It's the same kind of roofs, just different shapes and sizes. And finally, of course, some separate roofs so we can build some bigger ones, potentially. I don't know yet. Now, using all of these elements, we are going to begin building the the village. Now, as you might have noticed, these aren't really houses, they're rather towers, but the actual village part is going to be a whole separate thing. So first, let's focus on this. The only very, very unfortunate thing about all this, there are way too many items, so I can't select entire buildings at the time. I have to do it in pieces, which is just wonderful. So just like this, we're gonna build up this entire thing. Just right away, I'm gonna put some of these bridges in here as well. And I must say, once again, this is crazy satisfying to do. Very nice. And we'll put the little guy on top there. It is already getting shape, guys. Dude, this is actually so exciting. What the hell? Look, and now using this door, I can make this make sense. I am already loving this, guys. These big windows are, quite frankly, just obviously the nicest ones. They're just very big and detailed. And then this one goes down there, which is like a ginormous tower. Yes, yes, yes. This, however, is really quite devastating to the file size. I'm hoping we don't run into trouble because this isn't the biggest park, but still, you never know. Now here comes a big boy and a different roof design on this big tower. That is looking sick. A little bit further down here, we of course have the queue, and here I want to build a building that you kind of walk straight through. Let's begin with just simple walls, and then I'm hoping using some separate roofs, we can kind of put together a little hole. Here, the other side on it as well. And then using some wooden elements on the inside here, I'm just gonna make a structure that kind of holds it up just there. I wasn't planning on doing too much of the interior, but at least this seems nice. The plan is to make the indoor areas of the queue in another episode. So the goal here is to make it just as complex and compact as possible. This queue has to feel like you're genuinely walking through a village, a town, a city. Just filling up all the random empty spaces like this with platforms that villagers can walk on, and of course, to make sure they don't fall off, some fences around it. And these kind of empty spaces do lend themselves perfectly for random scenery and props. And by the way, what we cannot forget about is some smoke emitters, because all of these chimneys need to be working. We'll make the smoke nice and bright. There you go. That is great. Add some life to it for sure. Then one element I haven't really used yet is these stairs. So let's make a little bit of a staircase over here for no reason at all. Anyway, I'd like to give you guys a new update on the Fury figure. I promised I was going to show you it in hand, and well, here it is. It is just so freaking cool, dude. Somehow, this feels like one of my biggest achievements. I can't explain why. It's just... But that is not the only thing I wanted to show you. Currently, I'm working on a very cool cinematic origin story for Fury, for this whole thing. I want this to be an actual character instead of just a cool looking thing. The plan is to release this video December 1st on my main Photoshop channel. And right now, today, witness the very short teaser trailer for this project. Here we go. I think you can see where all this excitement comes from. I'm so hyped. Anyway, let's continue. So far, all of this has taken forever, but it does look majestic, isn't it? It is really just kind of filling up the whole landscape with this sort of stuff. Some towers, some lower areas, all sorts of different styles and vibes until it looks something like this. And I do think this is pretty dope. I do feel like it needs some vegetation, so let's create some simple trees. For this, I'm going to be using some dead trees and using those to kind of make a nice, big, majestic looking tree. Pretty sure this is absolutely nothing new. And some little branches on the side using some smaller poles. There you go. And then we need the leaves. And let's see if we can get away with using just bushes for that. It would save a whole bunch of effort and space, of course. I'm going to group the whole thing like so, and that we can then use for our buildings. However, not before making some different sizes, of course. Almost forgot.
12 seconds later.
There you go. Lovely. Let's begin with the big one. Where does it even fit? Let's try one right here, see what happens. It is a bit cramped, but it works. It's actually really nice when it's all very compact. Finishing touch would be a light somewhere here because it's pretty dark otherwise, like this. There you go, that creates some nice light. What usually looks very cool as well is adding some tree roots all over the rocks beneath. Something like this. Would you take a look at that? Well, that is actually very cool. I love that sort of stuff. And let's also put a few in this unused corner over here behind the buildings to make sure there's no ugly holes. There you go. That helps a lot with the color. That's great. This is definitely promising for next episodes. I think for today, honestly, we've done a ton of stuff. All of these buildings, some trees, some scenery. Fantastic. And so I would like to say that is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make very sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell not to miss a single future video. Then I hope I'll see you in the next episode of Building Fury: The Ride.